Hey, welcome back to another episode of All the Beers Podcast, where I, your host, Tony, am trying to review and drink all the beers. This week, I'm a few days late, and actually when this drops, it's going to be way late, just because I'm still waiting on Apple to approve my feed. Oh, the plight of a podcaster. The hell? Oh, you could probably hear chainsaws in the background. Apparently they're deforesting everything around me. I don't know what's going on. Speaking of working outside, the beer I'm bringing to you today is a beer that's perfect for the summertime. You're doing a little yard work. Well, actually, it's not perfect because it's kind of got a high ABV. So if you have a riding mower and you're putting on a couple of these, you want to make some crooked lines in your yard, I'm not recommending drinking and driving, but drinking and mowing, I think you can all handle that. Today I'm bringing you Bell's Oberon. If you're a Midwesterner like myself, pound Michigan beer, you're aware of what Bell's Oberon is. It's like a national holiday here in Michigan. When Bell's drops their newest batch of Oberon, people get nutty. And I mean, I like Oberon, don't get me wrong. But if I'm being honest, I'm buying a beer that's, got the Bell's logo on it, I'm getting two-hearted. Because it's your classic American wheat ale. And when I was actually looking up, I didn't know this. It's only made of 4 ingredients, which I really dig. Yeast, hops, water, malt. Although it says it's a wheat ale, so maybe wheat should be in there too in their listing. But whatever. I'm not going to nitpick. Well, what I am going to say is people go bananas when this beer comes out. And then it's like, boom. Because it's available March to August. They're drinking it all summer. Like I said, it's a good hot weather beer. It's very refreshing. It's not like a thick beer, like a stout or a porter, or even like a double IPA kind of punches you in the face with all that booze. It is a little boozy, but it's refreshing because it's citrusy. I don't know. It is a good beer. This would be perfect to take canoeing down a river. Take camping, because they do offer it in cans. Perfect for camping. But I'm not as much of a hype man as everyone else is. I mean, I'm looking at the Untappd right now. Overall, it's got a 3.75 rating, which is, it's above average. It's pretty high. I believe I gave it a 3.5 because it's just not really my style of beer. Anytime I see people posting online like, oh my God, Oberon Day, I get it, but at the same time, I'm not on board as much as everyone else. But I did buy a 6-pack this year because, well, one, I feel obligated to buy a 6-pack of it every year, to at least try the latest batch. And I'll be honest, like last year's batch of Oberon, I don't know, there's just something about it that I didn't like as much as the previous year. And this year's, it's pretty good this year. It's like, I got it right here in front of me. I should probably talk and not drink. But you know what, I can edit it out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not about as much about it as the rest of my Michiganders are. But let's get into it. I had to look it up because I know Oberon was in reference to Shakespeare, and I'm not the most literary gentleman. It's from A Midsummer's Night's Dream, where Oberon is the king of the fairies. I also found out, and this I feel more comfortable with. This speaks to me. It's also a German name, and I'm mostly from German background. And it means a noble and bear-like person. And that is so me. It kind of makes me like Oberon just a little more, because it's noble and bear-like, much like your host here. You may be familiar with Game of Thrones. Oberyn, not Oberon, but Oberyn Martell, a.k.a. the Red Viper, had a death match. What do they call it? Like trial by combat? I don't know. With the Mountain Clegane after he was all zombified. Spoiler alert, sorry. If you haven't seen it by now, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, he for sure got his head crushed. Just like I'm crushing this bottle of Oberon Ale. It is a good beer. I'm a Bell's fan in general. So it's an American wheat ale. It's coming in at 5.8 ABV, 26 IBUs, very low on the bitterness scale, which is fine. When I poured it in my delicious pint glass here, it's got, like a thin white head. I like that. Cloudy, like hazy gold color. It's a good looking beer. It looks good in the glass. Tastes just as good on the palate. The one thing I noticed was weird because I've especially doing this. I've made it a habit to bury my nose in my pint glass and give everything a good whiff. And if I'm being honest, there's not much aroma to this beer. It's just like you could get a little hint, and I'm coming off an illness. That flu. It might have something to do with it. But I just got like a hint of like almost like a spiciness off the nose a little bit. But it wasn't as pronounced as I honestly would have thought it would be. Because despite the fact it's not brewed of citrus or it's not brewed of any sort of spices, it is a very citrusy, spicy kind of beer. Which, I mean, I enjoy. It's very smooth. It's kind of got like a yeastiness to it. Like, if you ever baked bread or you walk in a bakery, you smell like the yeast in the air. It's got like a little bit of that flavor. It's got a really, really clean finish too, which I like. It goes down really smooth, which makes it kind of almost like a danger zone beer because it is a 5.8. It's a higher ABV than you'd expect from what it tastes like and how smooth it goes down. I mean, I could seriously see, nice day out by the pool or at the beach. You could whack down a 6-pack of these probably real easy, and then you get up off the sand and woof, you're seeing double. You didn't even realize it. So you got to be aware. I mean, I would classify this as possibly in that danger zone beer category when you have a few, you feel fine until you try to move. But that's a lot to do with that's craft beer in general, which I want to start reviewing some of the American domestics. Should pick a month and just do all those once Apple approves my feed. It would be a lot easier, Apple. I'm going to finish my beer here, but before I do that, I'm going to wrap up the show. I'm going to give you a quick rundown here. Got 675,000 check-ins with a monthly check-in of almost 5,000 for Bell's Oberon and Untapped. It's a pretty popular beer. I already said the rating 3.75 overall. I gave it a 3.5 myself. Overall, I would say if you can find Oberon, you should at least give it a try once in your life. And who knows? Maybe you live in a different part of the country. You're not a Michigander like myself. You have an Oberon. You're like, I don't know what he's even talking about. This is not. I've had way better wheat ales. That's fine. But you should at least do yourself a favor and try it. Or if they have Oberon, then they for sure have one of Bell's flagships, Two Hearted, which is one of probably the best IPAs you can buy. And I'm going to have to get to that eventually. But I still have a ton of beer in my fridge I got to plow through first. Anywho, give me a follow. All the Beers Pod on Twitter, All the Beers Pod on Instagram. You can go to allthebeerspod.com, see my check-ins. I got blog posts going on there. And I think I'm going to start going live on YouTube eventually. We're actually going to be experimenting with that once this episode comes out. It'll be long past. But we're doing a live episode for my other podcast, Salty Language, for our 400th episode, which is a Not Safe for Work podcast. Just keep that in mind if you do decide to listen. Have your earbuds or at least some privacy. You can also follow me on Untapped, All the Beers Pod. Comment, toast me, I'll chat with anybody. Just hit me up on any of these platforms. We can talk about beer if you want. And until next time, have a beer. You'll be fine.